Third time's a charm. Hello, my name is Brad Bodnerchuk, and welcome to the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast, where we discuss everything hospitality, from the food on the plate to the teams that make it happen and the community that drives this industry forward. On this podcast, we sit down and chat with some of the most exciting, inspiring, and innovative minds that make up one of the most dynamic industries that there is today. And today, I have the pleasure of being joined by none other than Christopher Petter from KATSU Burger. Welcome to the show, Christopher.
How's it going?
Very well. Yourself?
Doing okay.
Thank you so much for making time. In true Canadian fashion, I'm going to say thank you probably 72 times from now until the end of this show. I do really appreciate people like you making time for people like myself and this show, because I know you're extremely busy and demands on you as a business owner and as a partner to someone else and a friend to others. Time is the most valuable thing you have. So thank you so much for yours today.
Absolutely. We're happy to do it. I've caught up on a few of your podcasts and want to support you in whatever way we can.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So the first question we usually jump right into is the what, the where, the why, and the how, you, and food. So let's ignore KATSU Burger for a second.
Okay.
But take us back as far as you can, early childhood memories, you and food. What sticks out and why?
Okay. Well, I'm from a big family.
Okay.
Okay. I have 5 sisters.
Oh, wow.
I'm the oldest.
Oh, wow.
And then my parents also did foster care. And we had international students always staying with us. So sometimes around the dinner table, there's like 12 to 15 people every night for dinner.
Right.
So everyone got to kind of pick what their chore was. And mine was cooking.
Okay.
So every night I'd thaw like a whole bag of chicken breasts or whatever and then whip something together. Right. And it was nice because I didn't have to do the dishes and, or like clean the toilets or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started. And then so I remember cooking as early as like 7 years old, just for my sisters.
Wow.
And then all through high school. And then I actually went to film school, and through that I got my first job as a busboy in the service industry.
Yeah.
Which was kind of eye-opening. But I had a lot of fun with that, and then kind of went from there.
Cool. The busboy gig is usually one that most people in this industry start off with, either bussing or washing dishes in the back. Yeah. I'm assuming now, the position that you're in now, you've done a bit of both. You've washed some dishes and you've bussed some tables.
Oh, yes.
Where do you find your personality best fits in KATSU Burger? Do you feel like you're a more intricate part of the team back of house, or are you meant to be front of house, mingling with everyone else?
I enjoy both sides a lot.
Right.
Interacting with customers, and especially working specifically for KATSU Burger, it's cool. It's the best front of house experience you can have.
Right.
Like you go to an Italian place and
Right.
you expect good red sauce and good bread, and you go to even an Applebee's. You know what's on the menu. You expect that same par. But when you come to a KATSU Burger, you have no idea what you're going to serve. Like you've never had it before. It's a brand new experience. So everyone that comes through your door is like stoked and excited, like deep fried burgers.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like seaweed salt fries. Oh, okay. That's interesting. And so everyone's kind of timid, excited, and then we bring that food and they're wowed. So it's like every time you're interacting with a table, it's super fun.
Yeah.
But being in the kitchen, we have like a blank slate, and we can come up with cool specials, and we can incorporate the Japanese side and also the American side and see what we can come up with. So it's fun being in the kitchen too.
That's awesome. You mentioned that your education is in film.
Correct?
Yeah. So how does one bridge that gap for us, I guess, bridge that gap between going to school, being in the film industry, to all of a sudden where you're sitting today talking about your business, KATSU Burger?
Okay. So, my experience is like, I love music. I love art. I went to college on an art scholarship for painting and doing watercolor.
Oh, beautiful.
And then when I was there, I kind of got introduced into film, and it incorporated music and incorporated visuals and composition and everything like that. And I got super addicted. I shot my first short film. We actually ended up winning Best of Festival at this film festival in Las Vegas.
Wow.
So we got to go out there and experience the whole festival circuit. And then from there I was hooked. So I moved to Hollywood, and I worked as an art director in Hollywood for a summer.
Okay.
And I liked it a lot, but I wanted to direct. I wanted to like be in charge and hold the camera.
Okay.
So I got a lot of advice like, well, you should look into going to film school. But I was getting married at the time, and like Tisch in New York's super expensive, and
Right.
USC is very expensive. So I found Colorado Film School was like the top 10,
Okay.
but it was the most affordable.
Right.
So, and at that time I was working with the Red Robin Corporation,
Oh, cool.
and I had just been promoted from busboy to expo. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I transferred with the company to Denver when I went to film school.
Oh, wow.
But what I wasn't aware of is that in different states, there's different rates for servers.
Yes.
So when I transferred with Red Robin, I was a trainer. I was making a little over $10 an hour.
Right.
And I assumed since I transferred with the company that I would get the same rate. And I found out, I remember I went in the day before and checked out the restaurant just to get the feel of things.
Right.
I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, it seems okay. The manager seems whatever,
Yeah.
And I came in and they're like, oh yeah, you transferred here. I'm like, so let me talk about the pay rate. I want to make sure I'm getting the same thing. And they're like,
Right.
no, you're going to be making $3.50 an hour. And I was like,
Ooh.
whoa. And they're like, and you're transferring as an expo? I'm like, no, I'm a bartender.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we need a bartender. And I had never bartended
Right.
ever before.
Right.
So I just went home, and the internet was pretty basic at that point, but I kind of just did a crash course on how to bartend, and my next shift was the next day, and that was my first bartending shift. And
Wow.
then since then, that's kind of been where I am
Right.
in the restaurant. A
Wow.
little bit of creation and then interacting with guests too.
Do you feel like Katsu for you is a bit like that first bartending shift? Like, do you feel like when you took on this brand and this company, you were, how do I say this, a bit green? Or do you feel like by that point you were like, you know what, I know the business.
Right.
I know what I want to do. I
Absolutely.
know my vision. Were you there, or were you still a little bit wet behind the ears?
Oh, no. Man. When I transferred with Red Robin, I still had 4 years of school to go through.
Right.
So then I got involved with a mom and pop mixology place, and I did high-end
so cool.
bartending and Italian food. And then I actually helped open up an all-natural chicken wing store called Fire in the Mountain.
Okay.
There's 3 stores in Portland, and then I helped open up the one in Denver. Okay. So everything from like high-end mixology to just like cool, good, down-to-earth home, pub food or gastropub style. But while doing all that, I was getting my degree in film,
right,
and I was getting ready to run my own business, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're bartending and you're behind the bar, you meet everybody from lawyers to veterinarians to guys who race Ducati motorcycles. So when I was able to jump out of the restaurant, I actually opened up my own production company for 5 years.
Wow.
And I ran that with my partner. We did a lot of restaurant videos too.
Okay.
And this is about the time when businesses knew I need content. I don't know what content means. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I have a website. I think we have a Facebook. Businesses didn't know they needed that. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to, I knew the restaurants, and I knew the sound guys, I knew the graphic guys, and was able to put together cool packages for different restaurants. And we were pretty successful at doing that. Anywhere from like small, like mom and pop places to high-end steak bars down in Denver.
Wow. Very cool.
And so when and then me and my wife had our first child.
Okay.
And we decided, let's move back to Seattle, where we're originally from. And so I bought my partner out of the business, and I was going to set up my own video production company in Seattle.
Okay.
But I am a quarter Japanese, and I grew up eating katsu. That's like our comfort food as a family. Like Dad's like, oh, we're making katsu tonight.
Right.
So he does everything. I just do a little bit of prep, and he mixes graham crackers. That's his secret.
Oh, okay.
Instead of like just panko bread, there's graham crackers in there because he likes that sweet stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, Christopher, you got to go check out KATSU Burger. So I went in there, had the food. At this point, they only had one restaurant.
Right.
And I'm like, man, this brand is so cool. Like everything, we can really push this to the next level.
Right.
And so, and I saw they were hiring for a cashier on Craigslist.
Okay.
So, and I'm like thinking in my head, like, oh, what am I going to do? So I applied for that job as a cashier.
Wow.
So I could get a meeting with Stephanie.
Yeah.
And we sit down, and she's like, you're way overqualified for a cashier. And then I was like, well, I really like your brand.
Right.
And so we went through all the whole side of my restaurant experience.
Okay.
And then at the end of that, I was like, also, and then I pulled up my iPad and I showed her all the restaurant videos I had done.
Right.
And my, all the social media and stuff that I had done.
Yeah.
She's like, whoa, we don't have a position for you, but I think we're going to create a position for you.
So cool.
So we started out at just a trial basis for 3 months, and just to see if we could trust each other and see if we
Right.
worked well together.
Right.
And that was 3.5 years ago, and now we have 5 locations.
Wow. And Stephanie is and was what to Katsu Burger?
Stephanie is the owner,
Right.
along with her husband Tom.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. And KATSU Burger has kind of a peculiar past.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was originally opened by Hajime Soto, who owns Mashiko.
Okay.
And it's the first sustainable sushi restaurant in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
So KATSU Burger was his brainchild, right? Katsu in Japan, like I said, is a comfort food, just like a cheeseburger is in America. And it was his idea to throw that fried piece of pork on a bun and throw some cheese on it.
Right.
And it was super popular. But at the same time, KATSU Burger was kind of rising. It started in 2011.
Okay.
As soon as the popularity of KATSU Burger was growing, so was his sake and his sushi career as like an amazing chef.
Right.
And at one point, he couldn't focus on both, and he just closed KATSU Burger.
Ooh.
And it was like Seattle was like in shock. But Tom and Stephanie, they owned Sushi Kumpai and a coffee shop here in Seattle, and they were regulars, and they knew Hajime.
Right.
And Stephanie texted him like, Hajime, why'd you close?
Right.
Like everyone loves it. He goes, I can't do it. I need to focus on this.
Right.
But you should buy it. So they sold their restaurants, and then bought KATSU Burger down in Georgetown, and kept his recipes, and we've tried to keep the brand exactly the same and the concepts, but just really put more attention, focusing on dialing it in, making it streamlined.
Right.
And since then, it's been very, very successful.
Now, I notice when I say it, I say cat, like the feline. When you say it's more KATSU.
Yes.
So one, I'm saying it incorrectly. It is KATSU.
Yes. It is not KATSU.
Yeah.
It is KATSU.
KATSU. And for those of people that are listening and watching that don't know what KATSU is, you briefly described it.
Yes.
So traditionally, it is pork.
Traditionally, it is it's a pork cutlet, like from the loin.
Yeah.
Right. It's cut pretty thin, and what they do is they coat it in egg wash and panko breadcrumbs, and it's fried, served with rice, a little bit of cabbage, and tonkatsu sauce. And you go to any Japanese teriyaki shop or restaurant, they'll have tonkatsu on the menu. And that's the dish that kind of inspired the whole concept to KATSU Burger.
So cool. And I'm assuming because we're sitting in, I think you said the fifth shop for KATSU Burger, I'm assuming the community here in Seattle has embraced this brand.
Absolutely. I mean, we love our city. First of all, Seattle's very, very diverse. You know, so it's great because there's a good majority of people that know what KATSU is. So, but there's still people that are willing to try other things because there's so much available to you. Right. You know what I mean? Georgetown, they loved us there, but it's kind of out of the way. It's the oldest part of Seattle. It's down in the industrial area. There's a lot of hardworking Americans that get up at like 5, and they're working and they're busting their butts, and by 11 o'clock they're hungry. So it's pretty on a daily basis. It's like 11 o'clock we open, but at 10:45 the line starts forming outside
serious?
the restaurant.
Oh wow!
And then we're really close to Boeing. Boeing's helped us out a lot. I mean, Boeing loves us. They come down.
Nice.
And so our lunch actually is what sustained us for so long down in Georgetown.
Yeah, the shop. Okay, cool.
But then, and then the fans really latched on. And when we opened one in Bellevue, we're like, sweet, don't have to drive all the way down, And then we opened one in Linwood, was the next store.
Right.
That's way up north. And then Capitol Hill was our first kind of hybrid because we in Washington State, you can't just go ahead and start serving alcohol. You have to have a zone that's set up separately. So you have like your bar and then your restaurant.
Right.
But so what we did was brought sake and beer in. So we were serving alcohol for the first time, but it was still counter service. And that went pretty well. And then our Ballard location, it's beautiful, it's huge. And, and so we decided, we're thinking about the space and the neighborhood. It's like, I think we can go full service, full bar, get good inspired cocktails, aged Japanese whiskey.
Nice.
But for the space, it's like the deep fried burger. If you're asking for what a normal KATSU Burger regular is, it's like once a month. I mean, you can't come in 3 times a week and eat like these deep fried burgers.
Yeah.
So we need to incorporate more into the restaurant to establish more people in the community coming in, because in Ballard specifically, not a lot of people leave Ballard.
Okay. It's
maybe for work, but the grocery stores are here. Everything they need is here.
Right.
But how do we get them to come in a couple times a week? Happy hour, that would be great, but we want good food too. So we brought in sushi. You know, we have our owner Tom. He's got 25 years of sushi behind him. We do some cool inspired rolls. We do some deep fried rolls too, because we are KATSU Burger.
Right.
That's really been awesome. So we have like the hot food and we have the cold food. We have the fresh and we have the savory, and it's gone great. I mean, to me, it sums up every time I walk in the restaurant. I look at the table and there's a soy sauce and there's a ketchup on the table, and then to me, that just sums up what KATSU Burger is all about.
Yeah, it says a lot, that visual, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you take a lot of pride when you are, whether you are in the back of house or front of house, and you catch someone coming here for the first time and they're a bit timid because they're unsure of if it's KATSU or KATSU, and they haven't had a certain fry, whatever it is on the menu,
right?
But then you watch them sit down and take the first bite.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that where you take a lot of pride from that?
Absolutely. That's like the best part.
Right.
And that's, you know, everyone that's worked in the industry has had their, you know, their training as a server and their training on how to interact with guests. And that's more like a stereotypical thing. It's like, have you been in before? You know what I mean? But here I really try to press that. It's like, have you been in before?
Right.
Because, and everyone in the restaurant industry knows Yelp. Like I got this horrible Yelp review the other week, and it was like, they said they used Wagyu. I don't think so. I think the burger was deep fried.
Right.
And what that tells me is we totally didn't communicate to the table.
Right.
You know, it's like, have you been in before?
Right.
Yes. Okay. This is what's new. Have you been in before?
Right.
No. All right. Let me kind of break down what KATSU Burger is all about. You know, and then after your little, you know, your sales pitch, you know, whatever, their eyes kind of brighten up, like, oh wow. And then they start looking at the menu completely different.
Right.
Food comes out, it's big, it's hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fairly common. Someone takes a bite and there's steam coming out of their beef. It's like, you know, like a beef crab cake or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they just leave with like a sense of like, wow, that was great. You know, it's like nothing I've had before. All the restaurants I've ever worked with, it's something they've eaten before.
Right.
When they're leaving, like, yeah, it was good burger. Like, yeah, the pasta was good. You know, the pizza was good.
Yeah.
But this, you're like, wow, it was great. We're coming back.
So cool. Something that you keyed on there, which I think is so imperative in this industry, and I think for me, the experience that I have with this podcast and interviewing guests like yourselves, and also working in the industry, is staffing and is education. So how do you guys, as owners of 5 different locations, what does it look like as far as training? I think it was Stephanie came in and introduced herself, and she said she played more of the part of that HR role.
We kind of have a cool setup here. Like, I'm not an owner yet.
Right.
But so Tom is more executive chef and operating. I call him Tom KATSU. Like his passion and his hobby is like looking for restaurant space, and he loves doing the build outs.
Right.
And that's something I enjoy too. So, but his is more like finding space, building it out.
Right.
Setting up the kitchen, and then, you know, training the back of the house. Stephanie is more like HR, and she's she does all our accounting, payroll, all that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of the third wheel, is like brand specific marketing. And then whenever we open a new store, I come in and help train all the front of house people.
Oh, cool. So what does that look like? What are you doing different that you feel like other people in the industry may be not doing? What are you doing that's unique to KATSU Burger to educate your staff, engage them, make them excited about coming in and working? Are there any tricks that you can share with the listeners?
Well, I mean, just to get people, lead by example.
Okay.
Number one, lead by example. If you're showing up and you're complaining, you have a negative attitude, it's gonna transfer down, right? You know, and then learning from our mistakes. Like, I always use this analogy when training. It's like, it's not open heart surgery, right? We make a mistake and we nick an artery, guy dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Oops.
Yeah.
You know, it's food. It's just food,
yeah.
Right? So we make a mistake. Usually, any mistake we make can be fixed in 5 minutes or less.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would try to encourage them to, you know, to lose that sense of pressure, you know, and focus on their tables and try to anticipate. That's the biggest thing, is any server. Once they understand the menu, once they learn everything, then it's anticipating your guests' needs. You know, they have kids. You know, simple as refills or you know, being ahead when someone orders sushi, bringing soy sauce plates and making sure they have chopsticks ready to go. Right. But you know, the big thing that KATSU Burger is all about is the experience, right? You know, specifically, like I said, a lot of people are coming here for the first time. They don't know what KATSU Burger is, and they've never experienced anything. Like, so taking them by the hand, leading them through the menu, helping them make an educated choice on
Right.
their taste preferences.
Yeah.
And they guarantee they're going to have a good time.
Right.
You know, and how that's a great job to have.
Oh, for
I
sure.
mean, there's certain people, you have to be a food person, right? Also, when I'm hiring people, it's like I usually use this visual. I open up my notebook, I draw a line,
Okay.
and I draw like 5 circles on one side.
Right.
Right. And this is where everyone starts before they've entered the food industry. Right.
Okay.
And then you go and you live inside this bubble
Right.
for about 2 months. And what happens is, no, I can't do it. It's too stressful. No, I can't do it.
Right.
You know, I'm not organized enough, or I can't stay up too late.
Right.
But there's some people that go on the other side, and those are food people.
Right.
Those are people that we're looking for. Those are people that they like the hours. They like the hard work.
Right.
They work when other people play.
Right.
And then they play when other people sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
become vampires.
Yeah.
There's got to be something about it that you love.
Right.
And I had someone come in here the other day, and he's like, I'm thinking about opening up my own restaurant. I said, oh, that's great. Cool. He's like, yeah, I have the capital, and it's something I've always wanted to do. And I'm like, what's your background? He's like, well, I'm an accountant. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the books will be good.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked in the restaurant industry before? And he said, well, no, I think it's pretty easy.
Did you laugh, or were you trying to be
No,
nice?
I was nice.
Yeah.
I just kind of, wanted to encourage him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, well, I would encourage you to maybe get a job a couple days a week and just work in the restaurant industry to see if it's for you.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing you can do, I think, is open a restaurant and not love it.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
You have to love it.
Yeah.
You have to know you're going to be working harder than anybody else. You're going to be there late at night.
Yeah.
And you got to wake up every morning and love it.
Yeah.
And love in the food industry is different. It's not like you're waking up with like smiles on your face and you're like, here we go. We can
Exactly.
do it again. It's like you get up, like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in like a heavyweight boxing match,
Right.
But you just keep getting back up
Right.
when you get punched in the gut.
You're Rocky. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah, you're Rocky.
Yeah.
How do you manage that demand on you? Again, 5 locations, partner to your wife, father to your child. You got a group of friends, right?
Yeah.
You want to spend some Christopher time as well. So how do you manage that? How do you balance that? Is there such thing as life
Cut my
balance?
friends out.
Okay, so friends out. Sorry, friends.
No, but it is a balance, right? So, maybe it's a generational thing too, because
Okay.
a lot of the new service people coming in, they expect the world right away. Like you got to first, if you're going to work in the industry, you got to work your tail off.
Yeah.
Got to put in a couple years at least at the same place. And then after that, then you can find a balance because your owners, your bosses are going to respect you.
Right.
And they're going to know that, okay, you're not just here because you're going to school or you have something else on the side. This is just temporary.
Right.
And then you're going to earn their trust and their respect. And then you can set a balance for yourself. But it takes time. It takes a lot of work. For me, I was able to, I've worked everything from within KATSU Burger. Specifically, I've worked anything from cashier to line cook to chef to bartender to GM to regional manager,
Right.
all while still doing the media side.
Right.
And I finally to the point now where I don't have a schedule. I don't have, I don't have someone telling me what I need to do.
Right.
I'm asking, I want to do this.
Right.
I think we should do this.
Right.
I'm going to go to Bellevue tomorrow. I'm going to do this because I think it's important. Now, if someone says, Christopher, I need you to come in, I need you to do this, and whatever,
Right.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm 100% available for them. But I'm able to manage my family and my personal life. And that, it takes a long time to get to that. But setting yourself a balance is something I think you always are going to struggle with your whole life.
Yeah.
And it's not something easy you can do. But for like the first time really in my life, last 3 years, I feel like we have a really good balance going.
That's awesome. What are your thoughts and theories on if someone says, and this person said this to me before, is balance is great, but we really learn more about ourselves when our life is in imbalance.
Yes.
And then we find balance again.
Right.
And then there's imbalance and we grow and then we find balance again. Do you feel like your experience in this industry has been that, where you've had those moments of imbalance, of you don't know what the hell's going on?
Oh yeah.
And then you kind of regain your footing and then something else comes up?
Yeah. It goes with opening any new restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like learning your local customers, your community. specifically to that restaurant,
Right.
training people.
Yeah.
Because, every time you hire people, there's only going to be a few that stick around that actually make it, and you have to keep doing it over and over.
Right.
It takes about at least a year to get a restaurant running smooth. Like if you can do it under a year, I'll take lessons from you. That'd be great.
Do you feel like you've got a model now with KATSU Burger that you can, it obviously is repeatable,
Right.
But do you feel like you could take this to Portland? You could take it to
Absolutely.
LA?
And I think that is the goal.
Yeah. Okay.
Now that we have 5 stores, we're eligible to apply for a franchise tag.
Oh, okay.
And currently right now we are leasing, Linwood
Yeah.
and Bellevue and Capitol Hill.
Okay.
So we're learning a lot. Now these were employees that, one was a former employee who worked her way up and then really wanted a spot, and we had opened Bellevue.
Right.
So we just said, okay, we're going to give you Bellevue. And then up in Linwood, it's a close family member that's running it. And Hannah's great. I mean, she had a little bit of restaurant experience before, but when she opened, she wanted to know how to do everything, which I think you have to do as an owner.
100%.
So she was there 3 a.m. cutting our pork, because we hand trim all our pork and tenderize it and brine it. Same with our chicken, our tofu, our beef. She was there to 2 o'clock doing all the prep. So she knows how to do it, and she can do it in case someone calls in sick.
Yeah.
Or you never want a mutiny on your staff with cooks being like, well, you can't fire me because who's going to do it then?
Exactly.
She can work the line. She can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing, when we're looking for people, possibly expansion, right? I think this KATSU Burger did great in Hawaii. People love KATSU down there.
Heck yeah.
It's and we're, like I said, we're a deep fried burger place, so you can't eat it all the time. But if you're in a good place where there's a lot of tourists, people coming in and out,
right?
They're like, whoa, deep fried burger. I'm on vacation. Let's give it a whirl.
Yeah.
But I think we're probably about a year away. Right now, we just want to get our new Ballard location open, running smooth. And Ballard's our first ever, like I said, full service restaurant.
Exactly.
And as far as moving forward, I think we're looking at 2 concepts, basically. Just the burger shop where we're slinging our burgers and fries and to-go bags and milkshakes, and we're slinging them out and getting people fed.
Yeah.
And that's one model. And then the other model is a sit-down place with sushi, high caliber sushi that looks great, tastes great, is fresh, and then that model too. So right now we're just still trying to define our full service as far as our brand goes and our, the restaurant experience.
I think it's fantastic. And for those of you that are tuning in on iTunes, go check out YouTube as well. Just have a look at the room we're in right now. It's not what I expected when I heard of KATSU Burger. I mean, it's quite refined. It's super clean. It's like, it looks beautiful back here.
Right. Yeah. There's a huge cherry tree out when you walk in. That's our wow factor.
Yeah.
The trunks from my backyard.
Oh, so cool.
I topped my cherry tree because I couldn't pick any of the cherries. Right. The birds got them, and I set it in my garage for a year because I was going to turn it into some bowls or plates or something.
Right.
And then they were like, "Hey, we should do a cherry tree, but we need to get a trunk." And I'm like, "Well, I actually have a trunk."
How serendipitous.
Yep. And Tom and Stephanie had taken a vacation to Korea, so they purchased all the flowers and the branches. So the branches are from Korea, trunks from Federal Way, Washington.
Wow. So cool. What are your thoughts on talking about franchises and burgers? My exposure to it is just like, it's blowing up right now. It is. I won't even say the names because we know who they are.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you do want to say some names. Who do you feel like? Let's talk Strictly Burger, that model.
Strictly Burger.
Who do you feel, in your opinion, is really crushing it right now with what they're doing, their brand, their quality of food, etc.? Like, who are you looking at as someone that you want to model yourself after as you guys move forward?
Five Guys is everywhere. They do good stuff, wholesome ingredients. I mean, they do their own fries.
Yeah.
And they really are going everywhere, which is great. Shake Shack is very popular.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're just a step above. Like, what's different about KATSU Burger, it's not just like you salt and pepper, throw on a grill, you're done.
Right.
Like, we're taking our Wagyu beef, we mix in buttermilk because it's really lean, right? Mm-hmm. And then we're mixing it, right? And then we have to make cage-free eggs tempura that goes on it, and then bread it. Right. All our pork has to be hand trimmed, so it's like super labor intensive for one burger.
Right.
The customer that is eating that one burger, that took like 45 minutes to prepare.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus just okay, throw it on the grill, you're good. So I think we're like one step above it, but their brand, like Five Guys, is just the white and red.
Yeah.
Boom. In-N-Out Burger's great. Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
Actually, that's one of Tom's favorites burger places. The
Oh,
owner
okay.
is In-N-Out. He just loves these. Like, there's always like 10 people, like 15 people working, and there's like just 2 people wiping down tables because it's always clean and it's really fast, and he loves that concept. But we feel like we can do something a little bit different, but we really want to be careful because right now our brand is Seattle,
Right.
and that's where we started. Jones Soda is a big part of us too. Jennifer, the CEO, she came in, we did it, and we from the beginning we've served Jones Soda in bottles, and now I think 1, 2, 3, 4 of our locations have Jones Soda on tap.
Oh, very cool.
They supply us with cups. We have a good working relationship with them, and we feel like they're iconic Seattle. So we really don't want to lose our brand, and then the topic is always, should we put a grill in so we could do salads? We could do like a grilled chicken salad, or we could do grilled burgers. But then once we start grilling burgers, I think we lose our identity.
Yeah, that USP.
Yeah, exactly. It's so it's kind of weird to have a burger place and not have a grill.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a flat top for toasting and buns and bacon and stuff, but that's it. If you want a burger, it's going to be fried,
So walk me through the process of all the prep is done, all the food prep is done for your burger.
Okay.
But I come in and I order my first KATSU burger. What actually happens when that ticket hits the kitchen? What are the actions that are fired on?
All right, so for our Godzilla attack, right? And that's our Wagyu beef.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll take it up. We have it in little pans here with panko around it to keep it fresh, and that's what we prepped in the morning.
Okay.
So that comes out, give it a little tap, toss it in the deep fryer at 325 or 350, excuse me.
Yeah.
350 degrees, and then it goes down until it's golden brown. So while it's going, our bread is from Grand Central Bakery down here in Seattle.
Okay.
They do our brioche buns and our slider buns. So that goes on the flat top, getting nice and toasted. Set up that barrier for sauce or whatever.
Yeah.
And so while it's cooking, then every KATSU burger gets thinly sliced red onion, 2 tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's very specific. The katsu goes on top after it's golden brown. We lather it with tonkatsu sauce. Now we're making the Godzilla attack, so we're going to throw our 12 spice seasoning on it. That's got cayenne pepper. It's got sugar. It's got Japanese hot peppers, garlic powder, 12 different spices, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of spicy. We're going to throw a whole handful of jalapenos on there.
Whoa.
Pepper jack cheese, and then our homemade spicy mayo. And then one of the coolest things, and this is going to sound kind of dorky, it's like we don't do lettuce, we do cabbage.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we thinly slice. We got this cool machine from Japan.
Yeah.
We actually had someone on vacation in Japan. We found the machine. We couldn't order it, so we actually had them buy it in Japan.
Wow.
And bring it back here.
So cool.
It's a big circular thing that cuts
like a mandolin,
mandolin robot.
Oh, sign me up.
Yeah, and it cuts it super thin, and we'll wash it, and so it's nice and crisp. But it holds up on the burger. It's not like some greens that get kind of soggy,
wilted.
You have that nice crunch,
yeah,
and it just holds all the sauce and holds everything together. It's like a different bite experience.
And I feel like this could be a major stigma that I shouldn't say out loud, but I feel like cabbage to me is a more Asian ingredient.
It is
than like
Absolutely.
iceberg lettuce or
exactly. And it also ties into the brand of being the American cuisine and Japanese fusion. Then once it's cabbage on there, top buns on there, then if it's at our other locations, we wrap it, draw a little picture on it. Yeah. Like if it's a Godzilla, we're going to draw a little Godzilla on it.
Oh, cool.
Throw it in a bag and give it to them.
Yeah.
If it's at our Cap Hill location or Linwood location or here, it'll be on a plate and served with some of our like nori fries or Japanese curry fries. And we do 9 different dipping sauces in-house.
Oh.
And 7 of which we make in-house. So we got like curry mayo, miso honey mustard.
Right.
That one's really good. And so the fries come with a dipping sauce, and then we'll just throw it out to the customer.
I'm literally salivating as you
stuff.
describe this. It sounds delicious, and I'm definitely going to place an order before I head out tonight. God, I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about how good that was going to taste. What I was going to ask you was, in a time where it's been for a long time now where the customer is always right and what the customer wants, the customer gets kind of thing.
Right.
But there are restaurants out there right now, let's call them like Michelin star restaurants, where if you and I went to dinner, we wouldn't ask any questions. We would just sit down and we would be fed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of dictated for us. We're not altering the beef plate.
Substitutions,
not happening,
whatever,
not
all
happening.
that stuff.
So Do you feel like, because you mentioned that like adding a grill for salads or that kind of thing, do you feel like you're challenged by what you're hearing and seeing in the world around you, like vegan burgers and vegetarian diets
Right.
and all those things? Do you feel like there's pressure for you to adapt to what is happening in society? Or do
Absolutely.
you feel like
Yeah.
you can stay true to what Katsu is and you will be okay?
There's a lot of pressure to meet, it's, especially in a bigger city. Allergies are important, right? People's health and their well-being is important, but us as a business is also important.
Exactly.
It's tough. It's tough. Like I get people in here. Do you have a gluten-free burger? Well, our burger's breaded and fried. So no, we don't. Unfortunately, right. and so there's a lot of learning curve, especially with if they're not educated when they're ordering their food. They go on Yelp and they complain, or
right.
And that's kind of one of my issues. It's like, if you have a problem, why don't you just raise your hand, talk to the server, talk to the manager. Don't just take it home, stew on it, and then throw it up online. Yeah. Just talk to me, you know. However, with the vegetarian stuff, so the way we look at it, it's like, what can we do to reach other people without messing up our brand? So
sacrificing what it is.
For example, our organic tofu, right? Okay. We use a cage-free egg tempura batter for our beef, pork, and chicken. But our tofu, we don't use eggs.
Oh, okay.
So that's technically now vegan.
Right.
Right? Also vegetarian.
Right.
So we try to make it work for other people. Now that with the sushi at this location, it's nice because we can offer gluten-free options, with gluten-free soy sauce and stuff like that. Right. But because we're so finicky, we can't lose our identity. We can't just bend over backwards and then and plus all that stuff is very expensive. If you're working in the industry, what food cost is, what labor cost is, depending on your state, how much you're paying out. Yeah. You have to really weigh it. Is it good? Should I spend $12 on a bag of vegan or gluten-free buns? Right. That are going to go bad in 5 days. I'm going to really sell 12 of those. Exactly. Right? Yeah. Should I put it on the menu and it just sits and then take it off the menu and then someone's going to come in and try to order it? Exactly. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing too. You got to learn the industry. It's always easy to go forward, but once you go back, that people notice that more. It's like, for sure. Hey, we're open till 2 a.m. and then 2 minutes later, it's like we're closed at 10 now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's work up to it. Right. So you got to really listen to your customers and demand. If there's a ton of people that are just saying we need gluten-free buns, right? We're okay with the katsu that has bread on it. Yeah. We just want, and then we'll do it. You know, but so it's just knowing your customers and what their needs are. It's interesting as we sit here, as you're talking and describing that, I'm looking at the painting behind you and the cherry blossom tree to my right, your left, and I'm thinking what a great analogy for this industry and for restaurants, because let's say KATSU Burger, for example, the trunk and the branches are what KATSU Burger is. Right. And there'll be times where you'll have a small branch out here just to test out to see if it's something that is going to last for your company. But those branches may fall off over time, or they may grow and get stronger. But at the core, at the root, literally the roots of that tree is what KATSU Burger is, and it is that KATSU Burger. Yeah, we got deep fried roots. Yeah, that's it. And that should be on your T-shirt. And I've said that before. It's funny you brought that up, but that's our foundation is that deep friedness, and we gotta keep that. Right. But like you said, we can branch out, and it's nice now that we have other stores. This month we're running a KATSU hot dog special up in Linwood. Okay. And the cool thing is it's driving people from Ballard and from other locations all the way up to Linwood just to try the hot dogs. That's awesome. So, and then we'll get the data from that at the end of the month and see maybe we can bring it back at all the stores. Right. And see how that goes. But right now, as a company, it's just we've been focused so much on getting Ballard open and making it awesome that now we're kind of setting back and now it gives us an opportunity to really look at the advantages of having different locations and running. Fall's about to hit.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone in the restaurant industry loves it when it turns fall because kids go back to school.
Exactly.
The rushes are predictable. You know, your weekends are going to be good. You got
Yeah.
the holidays coming up.
Yeah.
You know, and then unfortunately after New Year's, everyone goes on their diet. KATSU BURGER kind of takes a hit.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to that and running our seasonal promotions like for fall and for the holidays. So
Right.
and we're excited for fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tip your hat on anything that's coming up unique? I mean, you mentioned the hot dog that you're doing right now
Yeah.
on your location. Anything else that you think is really exciting?
Well,
or
we
enticing?
always do okay, everyone in the industry that's listening is gonna laugh, but it's pumpkin spice milkshake.
Okay, hey,
you know,
do it.
But and then we then around the holidays we do a gingerbread shake with real ginger, and
So cool.
and then we do like a candy cane shake, but we also have like our matcha green shake and the Kinako black sesame is insane. Kinako is super popular in Japan around New Year's.
Say that again for me.
Kinako.
Yeah,
it's a roasted soybean, right?
Okay.
Okay, and it's a powder. We mix sugar and black sesame into it.
Ooh, yeah.
And when Americans or Westerners taste it,
Yeah.
it tastes like peanut butter without nuts.
Sign me up.
So it's super good. Like at home, I'll make pancakes for
Yeah.
my daughter, and I'll put the Kinako powder on top.
Yeah.
But and now that we have a full bar, we're doing some cool like boozy shakes. Like we have the Green Hornet, which is like Bruce Lee's character, and that's with our matcha green tea and Malibu and pineapple.
Right.
And then we're doing our Jackie Chai, like Jackie Chain.
Okay.
And then we got some cool ones coming up with it's going to be like we'll have a Chuck Norris shake and we'll have some other cool stuff coming out.
You know, it's funny, as when I was first exposed to your brand, it was actually through eater.com, which I think is a really, really, really great resource. And I trust them and what they say. And they had put you guys high up on the ranks in regards to places to visit here in Seattle. And when I first was exposed to the brand, I thought playful.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
That's what I thought. And when I sit here across from you now and look at your t-shirt, it's like fun. I don't really know what it is, but I do know what it is.
You're smiling.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I've taken from you over the past 41 minutes is this is fun for you and this brand is fun.
Yeah.
You don't take yourself too seriously as well. What you're making is a deep fried burger.
Right.
Like, let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Let's not try and be something we're not.
Right.
But hey, come in and try it.
Right.
And see what you think.
Right. And the brand it's all about fun, kind of zany.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's got that anime kick, that super fun cartoonish style.
Totally.
I mean, our colors are purple and orange. You know, it's like the craziest weird Halloween colors. You know,
Right.
but it's bright
Yeah.
and it's fun and it's different.
Do you foresee KATSU following the footsteps of other iconic Seattle brands?
Oh, like Starbucks or
something small like a Starbucks.
I mean, that'd be great. But I mean, we just want the brand to stay intact,
Right.
and for people to experience it. You know, so wherever that takes us. And obviously for us to make, be set up and be a part of our future is
Right.
being able to push the brand to different states and see where that takes us, But at the same time, Tom and Stephanie have a family, and all the other owners, they all have families, and that's important for them, and they're able to make a living off that. And that's really what it's all about, because we love what we do.
Right.
And we're able to support our families and have fun, and that's really the sweet spot.
That is. I feel like so many of us, I would say the 98% of the population, and again, general statement here, but are not living that reality right now.
Right.
Whereas I feel like you've been able to capture that.
Yeah.
You've gone from going to school for art,
Right.
then changing to film. And now you've facilitated the experience and expertise you had in film to get your foot in the door
Right.
in the restaurant industry, all while working in the restaurant
Right.
industry. And now you're sitting here doing a podcast talking about a brand that
Right.
you're super passionate about.
And I love media. I mean, go check out our YouTube channel on KATSU BURGER, or our Instagram at KATSU BURGER, Facebook. We're putting out fun videos. I mean, I've got to work with, and because of the media. So let me encourage other restaurants too. Anyone listening, pay for your media. Find someone you trust. Like, don't just get anybody has 5-6 restaurants and they're, make sure it's brand specific. Whatever they're putting out, same font, same images,
Right.
same filters. It's got to look the same every time you post, right?
Yeah.
But engage with the public, online and put out cool content. Because of that, we've gotten Man vs. Food to come. We've gotten Travel Channel, Cooking Channel. BuzzFeed came out. Their video went up. We had 3 million views in like
God.
45 minutes. For our Mount Fuji burger, which is like the massive 3-pound burger. But I would encourage people to really push the media. However, don't just rely on media, because the people that are on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and Google, and Yelp and TripAdvisor, I mean, there's so many.
Right.
Urban Spoon, whatever. Those are a certain group of people. But then there's others that don't have social media. And how can you reach those? So you have to stay on top of your social media, but there's also other ways of marketing. And I always say the best way to market your restaurant is in your restaurant.
Yeah, for sure.
Number one,
Yeah.
because they're there.
Yeah.
Educate them.
You already got them.
You're already here. Educate them on what you do and why it's important and what you love about it. And because word of mouth spreads.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter if you're targeting people that are interested in the Seattle Seahawks within 2 miles of your restaurant. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're because you don't ever know who's coming into your restaurant, and then it gives you a chance to tell them what you're all about.
Right.
So that's the number one place to market is just in your store,
in your space, for sure. One thing you mentioned a few minutes ago was something I hear a lot of, and I think it's a pain point in the industry, and it is people not feeling comfortable enough to, for lack of a better term, air their grievances in the restaurant or in the business that they're populating.
Right.
They'll instead keep it to themselves, and they may go home and not tell anybody, or they may go home and put it on social media or put it on a platform like Yelp. What can we do as an industry, and how can podcasts like this and other media outlets, how can we help facilitate an education where we can tell our consumers, our guests, that look, it's okay. We want to know. Right. It's like if you went to the Gap and you bought a pair of jeans and it was missing pockets, you would probably let the Gap know.
Yeah, be like, hey,
where are my pockets?
Right.
So one, I guess it's a two-part question for you. One, why do you believe that is the reality? Why do you believe it is we zip it and we don't share that our burger's overcooked or the bun is stale, whatever it is? And then second, what can we do to facilitate that change?
Well, this second part, I'll start with that. I think right away is just paying attention. You're going to notice if someone's picking at their burger, if they're looking around. And for a new server, it's tough. Like I can be, trying to post something, pouring a beer and making sure someone's running food, and I'll see a table just do one of these. They're looking around.
Right.
And I'll be like, John Paul or whoever,
right.
Go see them because they need something. I'm like, really? I just was there. It's like, go talk to your tables, investigate, really find out what's going on. If you just leave them to their own devices, they're going to feel hurt. However, there's still people that aren't going to tell you face to face, and that's just because of the barrier of the screen,
Right.
And that's something I think we have to accept, that people are going to be like that. It's unfortunate, but then the way you handle it afterwards is important.
Right.
Really trying to, and that's what I do whenever I get a negative or a positive too, is educate them. Like I'll get people that say the burgers are too big, like complaining about how big our burgers are, or I'll get people complaining that it was deep fried, or complaining whatever. And it's just I always tell them that's my opportunity to educate them on our brand first.
Right.
Well, first and foremost, apologize.
Right.
Then educate, and then try to resolve it.
Right.
It's the same thing I would do if someone waved their hand and said, "Hey, can I talk to the manager?" Or if I was a server.
Yeah.
Hey, I need something here.
Yeah.
You have to empathize. You got to understand where they're coming from. Change your point of view. Listen, and then if there's opportunity to educate, carefully. You don't want to be like,
you don't want to preach.
Well, duh, it's KATSU Burger on the front. You already
can
KATSU.
you read? Yeah.
But you have to educate, and you got to do it delicately. And I mean, it takes an art form. It takes some experience to do that.
Yeah.
That's why I always bring people with me, their server with me, when I talk to the guests, so they can see how I'm doing. Like I said, lead by example.
Right.
Because they're gonna latch onto that and see how it goes, and maybe next time you don't even have to get involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I always liken it to a dance. Each table is like a dance. Figure out how the table wants to be danced with.
Yeah, some people just want you to go away.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't want to dance.
Some people want to pull up a table and order you a beer and have you sit down next to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, every table's different. Yeah, absolutely.
It is called the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. So I have for you 2 questions.
Okay.
Non-scripted, so I am putting you on the spot a bit.
Okay.
I need from you 1 to 6, so 1 to half a dozen of Christopher's have tos does not have to be related to the restaurant industry at all, but something you have done in your life that you feel like the listeners or the viewers have to do, whether it is a plate of food you had, whether it's a trip you've taken, whether it is a pair of shoes you've bought, whether it is a piece of art you bought, a movie you've seen. What are 1 to half a dozen of your have-tos?
This is pertaining just to hospitality?
No, it can be open to anything at all. Just to let us get to know you a little bit better outside of even KATSU Burger. Like 1 to 6 things you've done in your life that you feel like, guys, you got to try this.
Learn an instrument.
Okay.
Definitely learn an instrument. Because I encourage you to learn an instrument. It's something you can be horrible at for years, but then you'll start to get good at it.
Right.
And then it's going to grow with you. So that by the time you're 70, if you're starting when you're 45, by the time you're well in your twilight years, you can be pretty good.
Yeah, really
you
good.
know, and it's something that you just do personally, and you're interacting with your instrument, and it's a way to express yourself. And then all throughout your life, you go through different music genres you're interested in.
Right.
And once you can learn how to play, you can kind of, your style kind of changes. It grows with you.
Right.
So I would encourage you to learn an instrument, at least one.
Nice.
What else? This is going to sound kind of Asian, but a bonsai.
A bonsai tree. Yeah.
Bonsai trees.
Beautiful.
I have about 60 bonsai trees.
Whoa.
I started doing them in high school.
Okay.
But that's something, it's just that I mimic a lot of my work ethic and life and spirituality based on bonsai.
Okay.
Because it's a slow growing process, right? You have some unattractive piece of
Foliage
material, right?
Yeah.
And you at the end result's going to be beautiful, but it requires daily maintenance. Simple as just water.
Right.
Checking yourself on a daily basis, your finances, your relationships, how centered you are, and everything that goes with your life, your parenting, whatever.
Right.
It just requires a daily check,
Right.
right? And it takes two seconds to water your bonsai plant.
Right.
And then every season there's something you need to do, whether you need to repot the roots, but everything's based off this tree, and you're just working it slowly and surely, and eventually after time you're gonna have something that's pretty remarkable and something that's very beautiful.
Wow.
And something that's gonna be there long after you are.
Yeah.
So that's something I encourage you to do, is look into that.
Cool. Very cool, man.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
I've never had that come up on the show before, so kudos to you for being super original. That's awesome. Any others?
Just listen.
Okay.
It's everyone likes to express their stories, and especially with Instagram, and people can become elitists and like, this is what I've done all this stuff. But really listening to people, I think, is going to help your life out a lot.
Right.
It'll give you opportunities, and you're going to have better relationships. Even in the intimate relationships you have, if you're able to listen to people and understand where they're coming from and change your perspective, I think that's something that everyone can better themselves at, is becoming a good listener.
Yeah, I try and tell myself all the time, I have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Any other have-tos, or you want to move on to the next question?
Have-tos.
3 is good. A lot of people do 1 and then get like a flop sweat and we just move on. So.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the food goes, try something different. I'm sure everyone says that, but
no.
Talk to your servers when you go to a restaurant. It's kind of you have to guess when you walk into a restaurant if the special is old food or if it's actually special.
Yeah.
But go outside your comfort zone and try something new. You know, that's whether you like it or you don't. At
least now you know.
At least now you know.
I
right?
like that. Mm-hmm. The second one for you is the haven't yet. So 1 to half a dozen of things you haven't experienced yet that you want to put out there, that you want to do, you want to experience in your life. So again, trips you haven't taken,
right.
Meals you haven't tried, songs you haven't played,
right.
Bonsai trees you haven't grown.
Yes. I have not yet been to Japan.
Okay.
So my dad was born in Japan. He left, my grandfather was a missionary, and he went over to Japan after World War II. Mm-hmm. And he's this big 6'5" German dude with red hair. And, he fell in love with my grandma, who was from Mito City in Japan. And she was like 4'10", and from a really wealthy family. And so they would have to take ferry rides to a different island in Japan just for dates. And then he actually had to save up for like 5 years to buy her so he could marry her.
Oh, my God.
So dad was born there, and he came back, and he has never been back to Japan.
Wow.
So I would love to go to Japan for 3 weeks, spend 2 weeks just eating. I mean, I want to, and people might get mad at me, but I want to try the whale.
Okay, yeah.
I want to try the horse. I want to try everything. I just want to spend 2 weeks just eating, ramen, the noodle, the udon, everything. And then 1 week seeing where dad grew up and seeing all that side of Japan.
Very cool. Any other haven't yet? But that's a really good one, by the way.
Yeah. Haven't yet shot my feature film.
Ooh. Have you written it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you have it.
I have it.
You just need to shoot it.
Yes. So, I mean, and that's kind of the plan is get KATSU BURGER up and rolling then I have the, because all my film school friends are in the industry still.
Yeah.
All my graphics guys are, they've worked on Breaking Bad. They're now Netflix is doing all this cool stuff with, you just need content and pro content, but
just content.
Yeah. And they'll buy it. Yeah. There's more avenues for independent cinema than there's ever been. And there's only going to be more.
Yeah.
So, maybe in 10 years I can actually do that.
Okay. So it is August 20th, 2018.
Okay.
So I'm going to check back in with you on August 20th.
10 years from now.
2028.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, Christopher, where are we at?
Where are we at?
Feature film? Or, you know what? I'll just go to the theater and I'll watch it.
Okay.
Or Netflix. Whoever picks it up.
Well, the plan would be to go play the festival circuit first.
Oh, okay.
And because then if you go to Netflix first, you're not. That's technically a premiere. So you have to. So I won't be able to win any cool Sundance awards. So I have to do the festival circuit first, and then you just maybe see it on Netflix.
I like that. That. Any other haven't yet you want to share?
Haven't yet had a son.
Oh, okay.
So that's hopefully coming soon.
Yeah, we're both fathers to daughters, which is a cool relationship.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But I'm the last one of the petter name, so I gotta have a son. So I put the pressure on him.
Yeah, exactly.
But my daughter Blair, and my wife Kim, we have a great family, and she's 6 now. She's going in first grade.
Super fun.
Super fun. Being a dad is like one of the coolest things you can do.
Yeah, well, I'm 9 weeks in, and I told everyone that it's easily the coolest job I've ever had. Yeah. Podcasting is super fun.
Right.
Chatting with cool people like you is super fun. But going back to her at home and seeing her smile is just like the coolest thing.
And then next thing she knows, she's gonna be talking to you. My daughter the other day, I went to take a shower and came out, and she was dressed, had finished making her own breakfast.
Yeah.
And put the dish in the sink. And I was like, wow.
When did that happen? Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool, but you're growing up a little quick.
Yeah, no, it happens. Time flies. Speaking of time flying, we are almost at the end here, but I had one more question that I really wanted to ask you that we didn't get to at the start of the conversation, but I want to make sure we get it in because I think it's so imperative. I don't have opportunities usually to sit down with people like yourself that are working with a brand that is multi-location. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, how do you keep KATSU BURGER undiluted? And what I mean by that is I find my own user experience when I'm a consumer, if I go somewhere and it's really hot and then I go 5 months later and there's another one around the corner and then 6 months later around the corner, it kind of loses that je ne sais quoi a bit. So how are you guys here at KATSU BURGER working to keep that brand fresh and exciting and not diluting what KATSU BURGER is?
That's a good question.
Or is it something conscious that you thought about?
Well, we pretty much are, whenever we have an idea, we'll sit on it and think about it and how it's going to affect all the other stores too.
Okay.
Specifically, and this is more of a marketing media thing. We have one Facebook that has a ton of followers and then we also have our location ones that only have a small amount. Right. So it's like we want to feed on our main page the cool stuff that's going on Ballard, but they can't get it anywhere else. Like we're doing sushi, we're doing full bar, we're doing cocktail specials, happy hours. So it's finding a good medium of also making sure we're supporting our other locations too. Mm-hmm. It's challenging, and that's something we're still learning, I think. But as long as we're communicating and staying on top of making sure if someone walks into the Ballard one and they come here or go to Georgetown or Linwood, the burgers taste the same, the recipe's the same, the sauces are the same. It's hot, it's good. Mm-hmm. All our buns are the same, all our recipes are the same. It's just keeping that continuity. People that have worked in corporate restaurants know that I call it Nazi propaganda. It's like, this is how you clean a fork. Right. This is how you fold a napkin. And everything has to be done the same way in 300 locations. Right. And I grew up with that. And it gave me a good foundation to learn how to wait tables and learn how to interact with guests. But, I didn't need a manager making a checklist every time. Right. How many silverware you fold?
Right.
75, 1, 2, and he's counting,
Right.
making sure I did 75.
Wow.
You know, so it's finding a fine line between consistency and then, but still letting them come up with their own specials and
Right.
promoting those, and then
Right.
you know what's happening in Linwood. There's more families, and Bellevue is more businesses. So
Right.
every location is going to be different, and I think we're at the point now where we have enough in Seattle that now I think it's time to start focusing out elsewhere,
Right.
because we don't, if we put another one in Seattle, it's going to pull customers from some of the other restaurants.
Well, we would welcome you with open arms up north of the border in my home province.
Well, we got
of
a lot of fans from BC that come
Yeah.
down. I got a guy on Instagram who drove. We put a new special out, and he drove that day from BC with his
Wow.
buddy to Linwood because it was closest,
Oh my
and got
God.
it. Took a picture, DM'd me,
So cool.
and drove back just for
So
lunch.
cool. Yeah, I feel like KATSU is it's a very intriguing brand for me. I feel like if it doesn't have, it could have a cult following, but it also has that like refined edge to it a bit, especially sitting here in the Ballard location. Again, this isn't what I was expecting, and I think that is so unique and so special for a quote unquote burger joint to go above expectations and do something like fresh, really well done sushi.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so unique.
Yeah.
So I applaud you guys for that. And I want to take a moment to applaud you for doing what you do and finding something that you love to do. I feel like the world we live in today, as I kind of mentioned before, so many of us are stuck with, you're not supposed to love your jobs. You just go to work, come home, fall asleep, and go to work again the next day. And you live for the weekend. But I say, screw that.
Yeah.
So I applaud you for doing that.
Life's too short.
Life's way too short, man. So yeah, I applaud you for doing that. And I applaud you for being so open to not only sitting down with me, but being so invested in what the people out there want and being so concerned with making sure that their experience and their exposure to KATSU Burger is what you, Tom, and Stephanie envision. So
Everything we do is for them, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. It's like if you're having a restaurant, you got to serve people. You can't just, do what you like.
Exactly.
Do what you think tastes good.
yeah, it's all about the people. And coming back to that point I made about that cherry blossom tree is just stay true to those roots, right? Those deep fried roots. Own it. That's a good place to wrap it up. I want to thank you again so much for taking the time, Christopher. And before we sign off, how can people support you? Where can they find you? Where can they reach out and touch KATSU Burger?
Obviously, www.katsuburger.com. You can get all our information there, menus on there, locations. Follow us on Instagram at KATSU Burger or Facebook. Those are great ways. And then if you're ever in the Seattle area, got to check us out.
Yeah, so guys, if you're local here, please do stop into one of their 5 locations. And if you're not local and you follow them on Instagram and you are, say, in Vancouver, drive down.
Yeah,
and
come on down.
Hit up Linwood, get a burger.
It'd be worth the trip.
Yes.
Come see the Space Nail and get a deep fried burger.
Yeah, and then DM Christopher and blow his mind that
Yeah.
people are driving down from Canada to try the burgers.
I will definitely repost and be pretty happy. I'll do a little happy dance.
That's awesome. Thank you much, Christopher. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to the KATSU team for having me in. And thank you guys for tuning in week after week. Please be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode. We drop a new one every Wednesday. And until next Wednesday, be good and do good. That's it. Done.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Well done.
Did I do okay?